What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing well. If you're watching this video, that means you're starting week 5 of the 4th marking period, and happy May to you as well. This is the 9th out of 10 lessons for Unit 8 of Algebra 2, so we're going to finally finish up exponential and logarithmic functions here this week. Today we're going to talk about how to write exponential functions, and what I think you'll hopefully find a little bit easier about this today is that there's only one way to do it. So once you know how to do example number 1, you'll see 2 and 3 follow the exact same pattern. So we're going to be working off this equation y equals a times b to the x and using that for everything we're doing in this video. So let's go ahead and dig right into it here. Y equals a times b to the x. We're going to write a function where the graph passes through points 1, 12 and 3, 108. So if I give you a couple of points, that gives you a couple of options for x and y, as you know from multiple years here of writing equations. So that means what we're going to use them for is trying to figure out the values of a and b. Once we get those values, that'll allow us to plug them in, write the function itself, because ultimately when you write an equation, x and y serve as placeholders for all the possible points that could exist. So let's talk about how we get that here. So you'll notice it doesn't matter if you pull 1, 12 or 3, 108. You have x and y. But the thing is, that means there are two variables that you need to find. So ultimately, we're going to have to get a little creative here and figure out, well, we can't find two variables at once. What do we do? So first thing we're going to do here, step 1, we're going to go ahead and find a. Now I put a in quotations here because we're not actually going to find the numeric answer for a, but we're going to find an expression we can use as a, and you'll see how that'll help us in finding b. So let's go ahead and use one of the ordered pairs. Now my suggestion is going to be this. If you have an ordered pair, so you'll notice that the x is the exponent. If you have an ordered pair that has an x value of 1, use that because it'll make your math just a little bit easier as we move forward. It doesn't again matter which order pair that you use, but seeing that x represents the exponent, if I can have an exponent of 1, we know that essentially cancels out, and again, that will make your life easier. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write my formula here. I'm going to use the order pair 1, 12. So the 12 is my y, the 1 is my x. So if I have b to the first, we know it's the same thing as b. Now, to find a, now if I look at this here, there's no way I can get a numeric answer for a, and that's okay. That's not our goal yet. We'll eventually get there. But I want an expression that'll represent a. So if I want to get the a by itself, this is considered a times b. Well, divide each side by b. That'll tell me 12 over b equals a. Now again, that's not a final answer, but that'll help us as we move to the next step. So my second step is we're going to go ahead and find b. Now, I'm not going to put b in quotations here because we now have enough info to find b, and you'll see why that's the case. So what I'm going to do here is to start, I used 1, 12. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the other ordered pair to help find b. So I'm going to use 3, 108. So I'm going to write out my formula just because. I'm going to plug the 108 in for y. We know a, I could write this as ab to the third power to start, because I know what those two values are. But here's the thing. If I go back a step, I kind of already know what a is. A is written as 12 over b. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go back in, and instead of writing that as a, I'm going to write this as 12 over b. The reason why that's helpful, look at your problem now. If I replace the a with the expression 12 over b that it equals from our first step, look at our equation now. I have nothing but b's. We know in the world of equation solving, when you have only one variable, you can actually get the answer for it. Now, this is just using some basic math to go figure out what the value for b would be. So, the way that we do this here, let's do some basic exponent math. So, if it helps, you can write this as 12b cubed over b, okay? Because b cubed would be the same as b cubed over 1, if that makes it easier. to put my b's together. Remember, if I have the same base on top, subtract those exponents. So if it helps, you can put that 1 back in that was originally there when we started. 12b cubed over b to the first, you subtract those b's, and it becomes 12b squared. Now, all we got to do to get b by itself, divide by 12. So that'll say that 9 equals b squared. We're going to go ahead and square root b. And we get a final answer of 3 equals b. Now, as you may or may not remember from when we did a whole bunch of radical math a couple months ago, yes, when you square root, technically it can be 3 or negative 3. We're not going to have a base. In this case, all of our bases have to be greater than 0. Those b values have to be greater than 0, otherwise these don't work. So we're only going to focus on the positive answer, so we'll make this a little bit simpler. B will be just 3. Now, I kind of found the A. I definitely found B. Now we're going to really go find A. And the way that we're going to find A is this. I'm going to take that 12 over B equals A. I now know what B is. B is 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. That's my A value. I now have B. I now have A. Now I can write the equation. So again, my equation is y equals ab to the x. So when I write this, y equals 4 times 3 to the x power. And that's my function. You'll notice I put a times sign in between the 4 and the 3. I would definitely suggest doing that, or you could put parentheses around one of the values. It doesn't really matter to me, but ultimately show some sort of separation. Do not write that as 43x. That'll look weird because the a and the b to the x are being multiplied together. So show something that implies multiplication that separates them. So, just to kind of recap, we're writing an expression to quote-unquote find the a value. We're going to use that to actually go find b. And then once we find b, we can plug that back in to go find the actual a value. And then we can write our function using both the a and the b value. So again, it's a little tedious, but you're going to see second problem, third problem, all follow the same steps. And I'm going to do it in the same order every single time. So let's go ahead and do this again in number 2. If you think you got it, take a couple minutes, hit the pause button, try number 2. See if you get the same answer that I do. If you do, awesome. If not, definitely follow through my work. I will say with these problems here, you should get some pretty normal numbers. So if you are trying this and you're getting some really weird decimals, not that you can't get those, but if you're getting some bizarre looking numbers, again, you'll see with the ones that I give you here, they're going to be pretty small, pretty common numbers that you would deal with normally. So let's take a look here at number 2. So again, first thing I'm going to do is find A. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the first point 1, 6, because again, it doesn't really matter which point you use for either of the first 2 steps. You just need to pick one, and then once you've picked one, use the other point for the second step. It doesn't matter again which. But I'm going to use, again, 1, 6 to start. So plugging in the 6 for y and the 1 for x. So ultimately, to get a by itself, and if it helps, I'm just going to leave that b to the first there. Again, if I want to get the a by itself, I divide away the b. So I'd have 6 over b to the first equals a. Now I'm going to use that to actually go find b. So, again, I'm going to plug in the other point that I haven't used. So I haven't used 3 and 24, so the 24 is going to go in for y. I know what the a value is. The a is that 6 over b to the first times b to the x, which is now that 3 from that ordered pair. So now I can go ahead, since I now have the same variable in the problem, I can go ahead and start combining these. So I'd have 6b cubed over b to the first. So 24 would equal 6b squared, because again, combine your b's by subtracting the exponents because they're on top of each other. Divide everything by 6, so I have 4 equals b squared. Square root each side, the b value is 2. Third step, once I find B, now I can actually go find A. So I have 6 over 2 to the first equals A. 6 over 2 to the first is the same as 6 over 2, which means the A value is 3. And now step 4, write the equation. So again, here's your formatting. Again, to write the final equation, you plug in only the A and the B. So your final equation would be y equals 3 times 2 to the x power. The last example is the exact same thing. It's just one more to work through. So again, if you're feeling good, try one more just to practice it. If you kind of had some of this right in step 2, or you've now watched through 2 examples again, try this third example, see what comes up. So same deal here. First step, find that A value. So you'll notice here we don't have anything that has an x value of 1. Again, while it's nice if that happens, it doesn't really matter. So I'm just going to, again, just use that first point 2 comma 8 and plug that into the function. So again, 8 will go in for y, 2 will go in for x. Again, I'm going to go get A by itself. So I'll have 8 over B squared equals A. So step 2, now we'll find B. So again, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the second point. So 32 for y. I now know what A is. It's 8 over B squared. Times B to the x value of that second point, which is 3. So again, I'm just going to simplify this. So I'll have 8b cubed over b squared. Now again, since it's b squared, again, make sure you're paying attention to your math here. It's not going to be exactly the same answer here as the last couple. So 8b cubed over b squared would be just 8b, because again, 3 minus 2 is a power of 1. So there's no square rooting here. I know we did that with the last 2, but if there's not a squared, you don't square root. All we got to do is divide each side by 8. We get a b value of 4. So now that we have that, let's go ahead and actually find A. So again, we had 8 over b squared equals A. So 8 over 4 squared. Now 8 over 4 squared would be the same as 8 over 16. If you do get a fraction, again, that doesn't mean you did it wrong. If you get a really weird fraction, like something like out of 7 or out of, 35 or something weird like that, you probably did something off. But some of these problems you might see a half, you might see thirds or fourths. That's okay. 8 over 16 is the same as 1/2. And that would be your A value. And then we top it off. We've got the A and the B. Now we can go ahead and write the equation. So your final equation would be y equals 1/2 times 4 to the x. So no real tricks with that. It's just, again, it's a multi-step process. It's not exactly the quickest type of problem, but ultimately you take the information, again, kind of regurgitate the steps that I'm doing here, and you should be in good shape for the assignment I'm giving you. So like always, try a problem or two out of the practice. Grade assignment with this. Again, since this is really all it is, pretty short, but again, it's just following this process through a couple of times to make sure that you can do it here kind of on your own. So as always, if you have any questions, please send me a message on Schoology, shoot me an email, or reach out to me during my office hours on Zoom. I'll be more than happy to help you at any time. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you next time.